So in this video, we're going to take a look at a setup that I'm working on for my son to do some Arduino projects. And so what we have here is a Raspberry Pi 3, and I've got it connected through a USB cable over to, or HDMI cable over to a 7-inch display. Here's the power settings for that display, and that's actually coming out of the USB port off the Raspberry Pi. And so we come out the HDMI over to the 7-inch display, and I have to say the monitor is, I mean, it's small, and the touch screen part of it I don't have set up right yet on the Raspberry Pi, but the actual display is pretty impressive. It's, you know, it is 7 inches, but it's a pretty nice display, and I've just got it connected to a regular keyboard and mouse. So, you know, fairly standard setup, and for less than $100 or right around $100, you've got a fully functional computer that we can use to program the Arduino project that we're going to start working on. And so what we're going to do now is actually take a look at the Raspberry Pi and how to get it configured so that you can actually run this monitor, because by default, if you just get the monitor and plug it in, it actually doesn't display properly, and you just get a bunch of jumbled up mess. So there's a few settings that we need to change on the Arduino itself to be able to do this. So what we're going to do is we'll close the IDE for the sketch, open up a terminal, and then we're going to CD into the boot directory, and there's a file there called config.txt. And so we need to modify that config.txt and add a few settings here so that we can get this right. So what we're going to do is we're going to search for HDMI. We want to make sure the HDMI group is set to 2, mode is 1, mode is 87, and then we're going to comment out the line that has the CVT, and we're going to add what we have here, which is 1024 660, and then 4 zeros after that. It's just spaces in between it. And then make sure that you've got the HDMI drive set to 1. By default, I think it's set to 2. And then when you're done with that, you're going to save the file, go up and do a reboot, and then you're good to go. It should drive the monitor just fine after that. So fairly simple setup for being able to work with a Raspberry Pi project and not have to spend a whole bunch of money on a computer. One of the things that we're actually looking at possibly doing is to set this up for my son's class, where, you know, not all the kids have a computer, but they need to have a computer, and the school doesn't have computers for each kid. So this would allow you to fairly affordably be able to set each student up with a computer that he could program a robot or some other Arduino project with.